If you want to get the top odds every time, bet with TopSport's Same Game Multi. TopSport. Feel the excitement.
Gamble responsibly.
Well, abracadabra, it's magic round, and aren't we excited here at the Same Game Multi podcast? Cannot wait. Absolutely going to be a great round of football, and to discuss all things magic round of the boys, Mr. Jared J. Roberton, and fighting out of the left corner there, Matthew Mark Cherry. How are we, boys? How has the week been?
It's been good so far. Can't complain.
Weekend was good with the footy. A little bit of the man flu today, but must power on.
You're lucky, mate. You're on your deathbed just about with that man flu, so...
Hits me hard, mate. It does.
All credit to the boys for showing up. So, also joining us, boys, off the top is the CEO of TopSport, and that is the man himself, Tristan Merlehan, joining us on the phone now. How are you, mate?
Yeah, very good, boys. Good to chat. And I don't know how many cracks you had at that abracadabra to get that in off the top, but it was very, very well rehearsed. Well done.
That was 2 a.m. this morning, mate. I was up all night thinking about how could I open it. So nailed it. Oh, thanks, boys. Well, I appreciate the kind words, mate. How's the market looking for Magic Round? Are we having plenty of the punters getting on?
Yeah, plenty of the punters getting involved, and plenty of the punters wanting to take the unders options in a lot of the matches. We've the highest expected score of the round is actually the Tigers Cowboys, which is coincidentally the last game of the round, which will be interesting to see how the pitch is playing come then. But that's at 40.5. We've got the opening game, Bulldogs and Newcastle at 34.5, and also the Panthers and Storm at 34.5. So some very low scores expected. The thing that's exciting about this round is that most of the games are really tight. We've only got one match where the line's over 10, which is the Cronulla-Canberra game. Every other game is under 10, which is good. It means we're going to have some good even contests. Obviously, the weather's going to keep everything nice and tight as well. So, yeah, looking forward to it. Hopefully it's not too impacted by the ordinary conditions. But either way, it's such a good concept, and plenty of people are going to enjoy it, I suggest.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it myself.
Mate, is there a chance we can get a market for the Bulldogs Newcastle game for the player with the most knock-ons? Heavy conditions and bad ball handling, mate. I think we could be on for a show here.
Yeah, I think so. I think there might be plenty of drop ball in that game. So I'm sure the other boys are doing their best with the ball skills over the week leading up to it. But yeah, I don't think the Knights have actually been able to train. I think they're based up at the sunny coast and they haven't been able to get onto the field, so that might affect them a little bit too. But yeah, I think there's going to be plenty of drop ball in those games.
Fantastic, mate. We'll get to a few games in a minute, but we will just hit you with our TopSport top that moment of the round from last week. I think the boys took it out together last week. I think it was a bit of a
double up.
Yeah, double dip. So you boys can lead off.
I'll go first. I went last week. I'll go first this week. My top that moment was the performance. It wasn't the moment, but the whole game from the Sharks. For a while there, they only had 11 players there for 10 minutes, and most of the game they only had 12. It was outstanding just the way that they controlled the game and shut the Warriors down, being overlapped on both sides. And I don't know how they done it, but it was absolutely great to watch. Yeah,
agree. I don't know how the Warriors didn't win that game, but Nathan Brown be shaking his head too, I reckon.
Mate, he was slapping himself.
Mate, he wouldn't have slept all Sunday night. Boys, I've got two that roll into one, and it's the big boys doing the big left foot step. As you've seen in the Parramatta game, it was sorry, that was my phone ringing. It was Ryan Madison, big left foot step, broke young, what's his name, the fullback, slipped me mind from Penrith, young Edwards' ankles, and Jeremiah Nanai broke Kalen Ponga's ankles with a big left foot step as well. So not very often do you see the big boys putting in a big jink, but there was two in 2 games, and they both resulted in tries.
Good player, that Nanai, as well. Boys, mine isn't so much a moment, but just a whole game in general, and that was the Eels versus Panthers. That was a high-quality contest, and the Parramatta's performance after coming off that shellac in the week before up there against the Cowboys in Darwin. So for me, I know it's not a moment of the round, but it was definitely the game of the round, and what I tend to think is some really high-quality football that we probably won't see again, maybe obviously Saturday night coming up, but maybe not till the back end of the season come semi-finals time.
Well, I sent you that message. That to me felt like a finals game.
Yeah,
watching
absolutely.
that, it was sensational.
So did my blood pressure.
Over to you, Tristan, mate, for you to judge.
Yeah, no, well, I can't give anyone any credit about that Sharks game. That was one of our worst results for a long time. And it was one of those things you don't mind losing $1.10 shot in multis from our perspective, but it was the hope that got me. I was sitting there hoping and thinking the Warriors are actually going to get the job done, and that was very, very poor performance. So even though I thought Cronulla were unbelievable, I'm certainly not going to give that. Brought up. I think the big boys, the stepping and breaking the ankles, I think there was some really, really good moves there. I think Nanai is a very strong player, but I agree. I completely, wholeheartedly agree that game between Penrith and Parramatta was fantastic. I'm actually surprised Parramatta are only 2-point favourites against the Roosters. I thought if they play in a similar sort of level to what they did against Penrith, they will give them a hiding, because I thought Penrith actually played really, really well. And I was a bit disappointed, a few of the comments people sort of alluding to the fact that maybe Penrith were off their game, but I think Parramatta beat them fair and square, and it was such a high-quality affair. And if they play like that, there is genuinely a top three, because don't forget they beat the Storm earlier in the year as well. So they can beat the big boys if they turn up and play the way they did last week.
Yep, totally agree.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Thanks again for the victory. I'd like to thank my sponsors, TopSport.
Mate, I was going to say that, but then I didn't want to seem to be biased being a Parramatta supporter, so I thought I'd change it up.
Very good. All right, mate, let's get into some footy this week. A few big games, obviously all up at Suncorp Stadium, but I just want to hit you with a few. Manly versus Broncos on the Friday night. Where's the money going for this one, mate? Broncos been playing pretty well, and Manly with Turbo back as well.
Yeah, well, originally the money was for the Broncos, but we've just seen a push for the Sea Eagles in the last hour or so, and it's $1.60 Manly, $2.35 the Bronx, and the line's 3.5. I think this is what Magic Round needed, a Broncos game where they are playing a good team, which Manly are now that Turbo's back, and they're right in the market. Like they're a big chance of winning this game, and obviously Manly just favourites are there. They're obviously, it's going to be a high-quality affair. The Broncos playing really, really good football. They got a couple of big troops back as well with Payne Haas and Capel. So I was very impressed with how they went against the Bunnies. We know in wet weather footy, the kicking game's so vital, and we've got Sherry Evans and Reynolds there. They're two very good exponents of it. So I think it's going to be a beauty on Friday night.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one. Not very often I look forward to a Manly game or a Broncos game, to be honest. But again, I think you hit the nail on the head there, mate. It's a good contest for the Broncos up there. Suncorp Stadium should be sold out. Would be a great spectacle, that's for sure.
I reckon the groundsman will just about be pulling his hair out on Monday morning when he goes for a stroll across the surface. It'll be fairly ordinary. Tristo, mate, Melbourne, Penrith, basically the grand final rematch, mate. What's the money doing there?
Yeah, well, the Sunnies made the grand final, so not quite a grand final rematch.
Grand final rematch of 2 years ago.
Oh, 2 years ago, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Or potentially a preview. I think these two teams might be facing off in later on in the year. So the Storm, it's a shame that no Pappenhausen, because that would have made for an absolutely fantastic game, even though it certainly will be a great game anyway. But that has seen Penrith open up slight favourites. We actually had the game pick 'em before, which is a 190 take your pick before the Panthers game on Friday night. Then obviously Penrith got beat by Parramatta, so that skewed it a little bit. And Melbourne looked like they were going to start favourites, and then no Pappenhausen has seen the market come back towards Penrith. So at the moment it's 169 Penrith, 220 the Storm, and 2.5 the line. There has been a bit of a push for the Storm. They were originally 3.5. It's back down to 2.5 now.
Just before we get on the next game, has the fact that the Panthers lost last week and Pappenhausen out for the Storm affected the premiership market at all, mate, just while we're on those two teams?
The premiership market has changed a little bit on the back of it. So Penrith are now $3. The Storm are $3.40. So they were both, I think, $2.60 and $3 respectively. Parramatta have come back in under the $10 mark. There was no teams under $10 other than those two last week. They're into 8. Cronulla on their gutsy victory are out back into 10. Roosters 12, Manly 17. The Rabbits 21, and the Cowboys $23, and also the Broncos 34 now. So there's a few teams that are shortening up a little bit at the big odds.
Bit of value there still, boys.
There is. Love the value. Mate, the next one we're going to touch on here, me and Birdo might be at the back throwing a few wild ones at each other after this game, mate. It's the Roosters and Parramatta. Mate, Chooks have got Connor Watson back starting at hooker instead of Sam Verrills, who's out injured. Mate, outstanding performance from Parramatta last week. What's the way the money's going here, and especially for that line market, mate? That's a little bet that I'm interested for this game.
Yeah, well, the Roosters are 215. The Eels are 170. We opened the line at 3.5. It's into 2 now. Flat 2, 185 the plus, 195 the minus. I'm just struggling to see it. I know the Roosters had a big win against the Titans, but they were pathetic. It was probably one of the worst performances I've seen them put in for a long time. I thought the Eels were so good. I just don't think the form line matches up, and I thought the Eels were going comfortably, which I know you won't be that excited to hear.
No, mate, I totally agree with you. I thought, mate, we would have been about $3, and Parramatta somewhere floating around to the $1.70 mark. You're exactly right there with last week's game. Most of those tries were pretty much fall-over tries for the Roosters. There wasn't much defence there from the Titans. The scoreline doesn't reflect how that game went, and I think if you watch both of those games, the Roosters game and the Parramatta game from last week back-to-back, just by watching those two games, the Roosters should get flogged.
Yeah, they did look a little bit better, I think, against the Titans. But as you said, Tristan, they weren't at the best of Titans. But the combination was a little bit better. They managed to score some points as well, which will only boost their confidence. So Eels for me in that one, boys, I think.
Yeah, I'm very, very, very rarely back against the Roosters, but it's going to be very hard. I want to do the old 50-cent coin toss, I think, for this one.
Yeah, I think I'll stay away from it. As I said to the boys before we come on air, Tristan, you'll have a bit of a laugh at this, mate. Where I was working today this afternoon, mate, there was this house, they owned about 50 chickens, mate, and at one point there was probably about 20 of them on the back of my ute, and I couldn't get rid of them. So, mate, roosters everywhere. So, mate, I think that could be a bit of a sign, I think, yeah.
Oh, very good. Good to hear.
Fantastic, mate. Thanks for joining us. If you haven't already, get on over to topsport.com.au, download the app, create yourself an account, and use the code SGM Podcast when you do. Thanks again for joining us, mate, and we'll talk next week.
Speak next week, guys. Enjoy the footy. Enjoy Magic Round.
You too, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Bye.
See you guys. Bye.
Yeah, she's going to be wetter than a $2 whorehouse up there at Brisbane over the weekend. So it'll be interesting to see if there's any games that go over the total points. I think the unders is the way to go, boys.
So there goes all our female listeners, and all our young audience. So thanks for coming. But as I said, I think the ground staff might have a few greys come Monday. I reckon that surface will get very, very chopped up. But having said that, I do remember maybe 2 or 3 years ago, Magic Round 2 or 3 years ago, it was very wet as well, and the surface actually held up fairly well. So
it's pretty good. Like the other week when they were underwater, it drained within 12 hours or something and just looked pristine still when they had the floods up there. So
drainage these days, that's. People have a laugh and say there's no way they'll get on, that when Sydney had that massive hammering of rain, they said, mate, there's no way the horses are going to get on Randwick or Rose Hill this weekend, but, mate, it drained away, click your fingers. So state-of-the-art drainage these days, boys, anything's possible.
Mate, I totally agree with you with the unders, and my multis later on will reflect that, and they are little multis this week. I just can't see those big scores coming through. Going to be very wet, battles of the forwards all day. And at least it's going to be simple, smart footy.
Very good. Let's do...
You are off. Don't talk to me. Just go.
The send-off. Who are we sending off? Do you have anyone in mind? I don't really have anyone this week, but I'll throw you boys.
About 500.
Yeah, well, we better start then.
I'll start quickly.
Only got an hour left.
Just in case one of mine's party or 500. Cody Walker. He's turned into a grub. He's starting and he's peaking. Had an incident at the hotel room. Then he's buddy swinging at young Walters at Brisbane. Calm down, mate. Just have a bit of a calm down. Chill pill.
No.
Just because you're not winning.
Get in and throw him.
I think that's just showing a lot of his frustration there, to be honest. It's just coming out.
No, I think that's coming off the scoreline results.
I think I just had a bad weekend because everything give me the shits, and I tell you what. But my biggest send off is the Channel 9 commentators. Unfortunately, they are absolutely horrendous. But the good thing is, when it comes to Origin, because Origin is basically TV rights are 100% Channel 9, with no Billy Slater, no Cameron Smith. Mate, there's 2 of the worst commentators in the world. They'll be doing Origin.
Thurston's in there too.
And Thurston's in there as well. So we won't have to worry about that rabbit dribbling on. But that's my biggest send-off as the commentators again. It just shows you how far ahead Fox is.
I found one while I was thinking was the Viliami knock-on that wasn't discovered as a knock-on. How can you miss that?
At the time, that was my send-off. And then when the result was still what we end up winning at the 80th minute. Yeah,
let it go, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, is that big of you?
That my blood pressure, I had to let go of it as well.
Fantastic. Anything else, boys? Do we do anything else in the segment? I can't remember.
I think so.
Beer of the week. It's a funny sort of episode because I'm on the moon as well. And by the sounds, I'm not the only one that's on the moon. But beer of the week.
Yeah, may as well hit it.
Yeah, let's hit it.
Yeah, let's hit it. You're the only one drinking today, so let the audience know what you got. We'll do it nice and early. Thanks to the Whitebull Hotel, as always. Great sponsors of the show. Thank you, Mr. Hawkeye down there.
This is a local beer too, this one, from Uralla, which is only, for those who don't know, it's only, 10, 15 minutes down the road, depends on how quick you drive. Could be about 4. This is the Grandad Brown, New England Brewing Company. It's actually not too bad. It's like it's 4 on the malt scale and only 30 on the hop scale, so I don't know how that works, but there's a graph on the back. My old maths teacher, Mr. Holmes, will be proud of me for bringing that up. So, but no, it's actually not a bad beer. I think I have a funny feeling it tastes very similar to Tui's Old sort of thing. So, I think they could be trying to get into that market, but it's actually not too bad. As soon as I cracked it, you could smell them. I said to Ches, I said, "Gee, that smells all right too," because it's a bit like that bit malty sort of tasted it. It's actually really good beer. I'm a fan of a dark beer as well. This bad boy, it's got a can top, so it's not a pop top, so there's half a point straight away.
What's the percentage on that one? I didn't have a look.
The percentage, Mr. Cherry, is 4.5%.
Oh, yeah, standard.
So it's only 1.3 standards per can, so it won't start your lawnmower, but if you have a few of them, you'll shit yourself. So, but I'm going to give that a 4.5. It's not quite at a 5. It's not quite at a 5, but 4.5.
4.5. It's good local beer. It's good to support the locals as well.
Yeah.
So what do you reckon? Just under 2 years old? Or
yeah, just
par?
under. Yeah, because there's something about 2 years old that's just clean. Whereas this is a little bit, it's not too bad, but hey, I tell you what, I'll have another one by the end of the show and I'll give you a real rating.
Fantastic. All right, that'll wrap up segment 1. We'll come back with our Birdo segment. Stick around.
Having a bet on sport this week? Top this.
Whether you're into cricket and curling or golf and greyhounds, TopSport will let you on for plenty. And with literally hundreds of markets from your own backyard to the international stage, TopSport has you well covered. So if you want to get the top odds every time, bet with TopSport.
Top that. Download the app today. TopSport. Feel the excitement.
Don't let the game play you. Stay in control. Gamble responsibly.
All right, we're back. Thanks for sticking around. As the viewers will know, the new set is looking fantastic. A few other little additions today, which is great. A bit of lighting, which is fantastic. Hopefully it stays up and doesn't fall down mid-show. But the one thing that we really do love about our new set is the centrepiece right behind me is the great graphic and the canvas there from I Am Cartoonified. It's on the screen now. You'll see it. How good the detail is from these guys. Fantastic. Ches has got a little live read that he's going to read out as well. And they've come on board to sponsor Birdo's segment, which is great as well.
Yeah, mate, I'll just have a quick sip here. Get rid of the
horse.
The old throat tickle. All right. At I Am Cartoonified, we aim to bring joy into everyone's homes through various forms of personalised art. To get cartoonified, it is simple. Upload your photos, choose your theme, and we will make the magic happen. Love the NRL? No matter who you support, we can put your family and friends on print wearing your supported team jersey in front of your preferred stadium. Want to add your favourite NRL players to the artwork? No problem. We can customise any print to fit your desired space and needs. From small table pieces to large wall-hung prints, printed and shipped from Australia. Head to the website iamcartoonified.com and use the code SGM15, so that's SGM15, for 15% off store-wide for the month of May. And I tell you what, we're already about a third of the way through, mate. It's bloody snuck up pretty quick again.
I don't know what.
But yeah, head on over to the website. It's on your screen as we speak. And really, this show cannot go on without the great sponsors like I Am Cartoonified, the Whitebull, TopSport. So if you do like our show, please support these great businesses that support us. They help us get our show out each and every week. So without their continued support, it will struggle to produce a show. So if you do like it, we do plead with you to support these guys as well and show them that you do love the show and that you heard about them on our show as well.
Your 15% off is very generous too, I think. It's good. Very good.
Especially if you get a couple pieces at the same time, 15% of say two of them, that adds up real quick. But yeah, I said last week, boys, the quality of that photo too is phenomenal. So definitely get in amongst it and see what you can do. As I said, we said last week too, they can do all sorts of different ones. Put your family, your crew, and do them as the Simpsons or as we have as in real life cartoon sort of view. But no, it's a very, very good piece, boys. But I Am Cartoonified is on board with my segment, which is the player performance rating. So basically, for those who are first in, basically we'll give a rating of roughly that player last year to where they are this year. I know, as we said earlier, they're only fairly early in the season, but that may change come round 25. But boys, first one I'm going to kick off this week, Brent Naden. Now, Brent Naden, when he was at Penrith, I give him a 7.5. He was playing really good football, and I tell you what, if it wasn't for two big names, Latrell Mitchell and Tommy Turbo playing in the New South Wales side, I reckon he'd be feeling very hard done by that he didn't get a start. But I tell you what, when you got two players like that above him, very hard to break through, boys. The problem is this year he's gone to the Bulldogs where he doesn't have as much around him. Boys, I'm going to drop him to a 6. Apart from his kicking game, he just doesn't excite me.
Yeah, I haven't really watched much of him this year, to be honest. I haven't watched a lot of Bulldogs games, just given the time slot that they're usually on. It's usually that sort of late Sunday afternoon game. I think they had about 5 Sundays in a row. Usually busy doing stuff with the daughters there. But, yeah, I don't know. I think 7 might even be a bit generous for last year, to be honest, in my books. And I think it's starting to show with a few other players as well that at the Bulldogs, when you don't have that class around you, sort of that you miss that, you need that to sort of go to that next level. I'm going to go a bit lower, mate. I'm going to go a 5. He's just on par for me.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, that's fair. When I say kicking game too, I don't mean grubbers, chips, etc. Mate, all he's got is a spiral bomb, and that's it.
I thought he was pretty good last year, but he was playing for who he was playing for. I'd be leaning towards a 7.5, I think, from last year. I've watched a lot of the Bulldogs games this year. I've quite enjoyed watching them, even though they haven't come through for me for the multis. But I think this year it's just a different player. Yep. He just doesn't have those quality balls. There's no support with him. I reckon 4.5, 5, somewhere around there this year, which is unfortunate too. From what we know that he can produce. Who did he fill in for last year? There was injury. He played for a fair few weeks anyway. I forget who it was. Whoever come back last year.
Crichton, maybe.
I think it could have been. When they come back, he got put back to the bench, and I was sort of a little bit disappointed because I was enjoying watching him play. And he was picking up a fair few tries last year. Yeah, but this year, no.
Ordinary, very ordinary. Yep. So, now, boys, the next one, Brisbane Broncos player Tom Flegler. Now, last year I'm going to give him a 6. This year I'm going to give him an 8. Mate, that bloke is banging on the door at the moment. He's playing some real good football, and I love watching it too. Which is, he's an exciting forward. Only a young rooster too. He's only a young bloke, and he's got a big future in front of him, boys. I'm 100%. I got him an 8 this year, a 6 last year. He was playing really good, and it's good to see him on the receiving end of a few half decent plays too. Whereas last year they were just playing crash ball. Yeah. Whereas now he's getting put into gaps by Reynolds and stuff like that. So I've got him an 8 this year.
I go half a point under for both years from yours. I reckon it's about 7.5 for me at the moment. Putting in some good work though, but definitely improved from last year. I had a lot of errors last year as well. It was sort of one of those.
I think that was just that team in general.
It could have been, yeah. I think it was just a bit of a Butterfinger curse or something going on there. But yeah, so I'm going to go half a point under on both.
For his first game of the year, I'm going to give him the same rating as he got put on report, and that's a 4.
Yes.
But yeah, I agree. It's hard to shine in that team when you got bloke like Payne Haas there as well. I know he was out last week, and he probably had to stand up a little bit more there as well. But he missed the first 3 or 4 games of the year. I think he was out injured or suspended or something. And so he's only played.
I think he was suspended
5 or 6 5 games. I reckon
playing up.
Yeah, so kind of hard to get too much of a judge on him. What did you have him at this year, mate? An 8?
I had him at an 8 this year. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go Ches. I'm going to go half a point under, about a 7.5, only because I rate Payne Haas at a 9.
Yeah,
I think he's just still a little drop below him. Just in those effort areas, that's where I love Payne Haas.
I think this will be a good weekend for him too.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Just with the style of play they're going to have to.
Who else you got, buddy?
Boys, lucky last is Scotty Drinkwater, Cowboys. Now, I've got him as a 5 last year. He wasn't real exciting last year, but this year I've got him an 8.5. But I want to put into perspective too that he's in a little bit of a different team. They're starting to gel. They're starting to play off. So I might have gone a little bit rich. So I might tone that back to a 7.5. So this year I'm going to give him 7.5. I'm going to go against my own notes. Only because I've only just, for some reason, it's only just clicked. You put into perspective too that last year the whole team was playing appalling, and this year it's clicking. Is that why he's looking so good? But I tell you what, at the fullback position, and we even said when Tabuai-Fidow comes back, Tabuai-Fidow might be lucky to find that number 1 jersey, and so far so good. He's kept that spot.
I was just about to say, like, here's the reason why Hammer's got 14.
Yeah,
really,
100%.
And then that puts Jackie Granville back into the Reggies, mate.
Yeah.
I reckon last year I'd generous. I like Scott Drinkwater, so I'll be generous to give him a 5.5 from last year. This year, mate, I reckon an 8. I reckon he's up there this year. Since he's been only played he's played 3 games, 4 games since he come back.
4, I think.
4.
4 back.
Outstanding. He's just really lifted that side. That they were going good anyway, but they were playing weaker teams. Now they've played a few good teams, and just a real good genuine boost for them. Yeah,
I agree with you. Last year's score, he played a bit of 5'8", bit of 6 last year, a bit off the bench. Like, he sort of wasn't consistent in his spot, so it was hard to judge. But this year, the whole Cowboys team is completely different, as we've mentioned a couple of times previous. But, he's that spark in that back line. I love the hammer, I do. And, if they put the hammer back in there tomorrow, I wouldn't complain at all. But he just offers something a little bit different with his ball playing skills out the back. I'm with Ches, mate. I'm going 1 up. I'm going 8. I'm going 8 as well, half a point up. So he's
You're right the first time, mate.
Yeah, he should have kept it there.
I might change it.
So I'm going 8. He's playing really well. And as two of the Cowboys, really impressed with some of their work. I just hope they can keep it up and it's not just a little patch and they start to fade at the back end. Not that any of us had them in our top 8, so it's going to ruin our multi that we got on.
Well, I had them running dead last, so the cake will be on my face, I'd imagine.
100%. Fantastic. Thank you. That's it, mate. Just a 3 this week.
Yeah, just a 3.
Thank you again to I Am Cartoonified. Head on over to the website, grab yourself that 15% off. Make a great present if you've got someone's birthday coming up or a dad, you don't know what to buy them. Trust me, I'm one. I know only so many socks and undies you can get. Something like this to hang in the man cave or in the shed, or even over all your family photos instead would be fantastic as well. They do a great job. The quality is superb, and they're really easy to work with as well. Back and forth, you can nut out some details and all that kind of stuff. So head on over to the website, use the code SGM15, grab yourself 15% off. Let's jump into a few games, hey boys.
Let's do it.
We'll hit this magic round. Abracadabra, as I said off the top of the show, cannot wait. So I was just waving my little magic wand around.
It's not the one in your hand either.
Didn't know where to look then.
Hence the emphasis on the little. Boys, kicking us off, Dogs v Knights. Now, this one is Friday, 6 p.m. I said to Ches earlier, it didn't take me so long to prep this week because all the games are at Brisbane at Suncorp Stadium, so I didn't have to look down my notes and discover where the game is. So Friday, 6 p.m. up there, kicking off Magic Round. The Dogs are the favourites, $1.72. The Knights, $2.15 outsiders. The line is set at 2.5. You can get the Doggies at $1.95 at the minus, or the Knights at $1.85 at the plus, boys. Not probably the best game to open Magic Round, especially in the wet. How do you see the quality of this game panning out?
I think they could surprise us.
You reckon?
I think they could surprise us. Like, I'm not talking excitement wise, but I think their penalty count. I had a laugh with Tristan earlier about is there a market for the player with the most knock-ons in the heavy conditions? But I tell you what, that might not be too bad. I think, I don't know.
Going to watch it?
Maybe.
When is it? What time?
6 p.m. Friday.
Nah, I'll be drinking.
Drunk. Rotten.
Ches?
Mate, I probably will watch this game. See if the Doggies can notch up another one. Will this heavy rain affect the swing from those big bombs? You reckon they're not going to be able to cut down and hit those angles?
It might affect that. Depends if there's any wind, but what it'll do, it'll make it even harder to catch because of the wet and the rain in the eyes and all that kind of stuff. So
Burton's still going to be able to. Burton's still going to be able to put them up.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be drawing as much across. Yeah. But still, they're going to be coming down, and they're going to be coming down wet and sloppy.
That's how we like them.
There's going to be absolute nightmares catching those things.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards the Dogs for this one. Fingers crossed they can get up.
Just looking there, boys. Mitch Barnett comes back in the side. So does Adam Clune. But no eyebrows. What's his name? Number 6, what's his name? Clifford. No, Clifford. No, Clifford, yeah. No, Clifford. Jack Johns, did you see that break his arm last week? Poor fella.
What happened?
Jack Johns, Matty Johns' son, broke his arm in the tackle last week, coming out and was just off. Take my strong hand.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I didn't see it.
He's literally just back from injury.
It was his first start. It was the same arm he broke about 3 years ago as well, playing for Italy, I think they said. So he'll be out for probably, I don't know, rest of the season maybe. It looked bad. I don't know the full extent. Not much luck.
Bloke can't get a break.
The
other brothers at Melbourne, he's behind arguably one of the best sixes in the game and arguably one of the best sevens in the game, and he can't get a start.
Yeah. He'll be learning a lot down there. You going Dogs or Knights?
Mate, I'm going to have to go to the market. I'm going to have to go for the Dogs as well.
I'm going Dogs. You're Mouldy, mate.
Yes, and as I mentioned before, been very, very, very cautious this week with that wet weather up there. I've gone Dogs minus 2.5 for the line there, giving the Knights a little bit of start. I think they're going to need a bit more than that. Fox and a Bradman Best anytime try scorers, and that's $13.36. I can see Bradman Best getting one. I've just got a feeling. I thought I'd slot him in there.
You have to start doing something sometime, I suppose. He's been pretty poor this year.
I have been woeful.
Considering,
I reckon Bradman Best isn't too far behind me. But no, I just got a bit of a feeling this week. So this is, what are we on, round 10?
Yep.
I've got 9 weeks without a multi. So this is going to be my first multi that gets up for the
confidence. I like it.
All right, let's move on to the next game. We'll hit this before we wrap this segment up. Manly versus Broncos should be a great game, as we touched on with Tristan. Manly are the favourites, $1.60. Broncos $2.35. That's head-to-head. The line is set at 3.5. $1.90 for Manly at the minus and $1.90 for the Broncos at the plus. I'm really looking forward to this game, boys. The Broncos have been in good touch, I reckon, the last few weeks, and they won last week against South without Haas, without Capewell, in a game that they were, I think, $4 outsiders, I think, when the ball kicked off, so they weren't expected to win that, playing really well. Up there in front of home crowd, magic round. Manly are going pretty well as well. Turbo will be one game back last week, so he'll be better for that run. Should be a cracking game. Daly Cherry Evans with his kicking game, I think, could control this, and Adam Reynolds can maybe try and counter that as well. So I'm really looking forward to that battle. What are your thoughts?
Do you reckon Katoni Staggs might target Junior Turbo a bit in this? Try and put a bit of pressure on him?
Yeah, I reckon. Welcome to first grade.
Yeah, remember how he got Talakai a couple of weeks ago? Yep. Rushed him, shut him down.
Put the pressure on,
I can see a little bit of that strategy coming out this week too from Brisbane.
Heavy conditions too.
Yeah,
might be putting the pressure on him. Yeah. See how he tackles in the wet. But I think I'm pumped. This is one thing I do like about this is a battle of the ones. Because I think Tamari Martin at the moment is playing some really good football. And Cherry Evans is just back, and he's consistent as always. Also, too, the halves, particularly the sevens. I'm keen for that, and I'm also keen for the battle of the forwards between Capewell, Haas, etc. Up against Martin Tapau, Ola Kawatu, etc. I think it'll be good. So there's matchups in there between the backs, mids, and forwards.
Just having a look here. So you got your Ola Kawatu's, Bullimore,
Josh Alloy. He's been one of the form props, I reckon. Josh Alloy,
the
Mayo man,
Mayo man,
Jakey Turbo, Aioli. Mate, those guys are going to be just dangerous,
especially in the wet.
Dangerous as. And speaking of forward battles, last week we had Matt Lodge taking on Finucane. Really, really good. And in the para game, Kikau and Junior Paulo were going at it for a while too. Really good to watch. So hopefully this weekend it's going to be
Papali'i.
Yeah, Papali'i, yeah.
Oh, mate, what a battle that was.
So hopefully, especially with this game and leading into the next of the week, we're going to see that. But for all the games, it's going to be really good.
Just quickly run through the changes, Ches, before you do your Moldy. Ola Kalatu comes back in. Travojevic shifts to the centres, as you said. That Harper drops out. Davey comes back as well on the interchange bench, which is good. For the Broncos, Haas Capewell returned from injury. Carrigan moves to prop. And Hetherington drops to the bench. That means TC, so Terry Carson Rabadi drops out of the 17. So won't see Terry Carson up there at Magic Round. Your malt, Ches, hit us off, bud.
Mate, I could see Broncos causing a bit of an upset here. So I've gone the Bronx head-to-head. I've gone Selwyn Cobbo anytime try scorer. And Ola Kalatu coming back. I got him anytime try scorer as well. $19.26.
Yeah,
Nice.
I couldn't believe that price when you sent it through to me today. It was
How
for a
good's
little three-legger, but I suppose you got the Broncos head-to-head there.
How quick's Cobbo?
Yeah.
Pulling away from all but everybody in that Rabbitohs side on the weekend,
good,
mate.
I like how he runs those support runs too. So when Stags and stuff will make a break and start heading a bit wide, he'll cut back in, waiting for those offloads or pick up a bit of a scrap ball or something that happens to pop out.
Maybe just that little chip
He's
over
play-
the top side of the fullback.
He's great.
Yeah. Fantastic. We'll take another quick little rehydration break, come back and preview the next 6 games.
Another half win. From punters jumping in early or waiting too late. You get a good price on one leg, but the others have shortened dramatically. You still win, but it feels like you half win. Introducing TopSport's best of the best multi. Get top odds on every leg, every time. Don't be one of these. Just bet and forget Bob Multi. TopSport. Feel the excitement.
Don't let the game play you. Stay in control. Gamble responsibly.
All right, let's get back into these other games. Also, Saturday, 3 p.m, Warriors versus South. This one's kicking off Super Saturday. Warriors, outsiders here, $2.90. South are the favourites at $1.42. The line is set at 6.5. Get the Warriors at $1.92 at the plus, or you can get the South at $1.88 at the minus. Boys, South are playing pretty ordinary football, and the loss of Cam Murray over the week, I think's a massive blow to not only New South Wales, but more so to them, obviously. His combination through the middle, that fast play the ball. Warriors were atrocious last week, but I can see maybe a bit of a bounce-back factor here, and I'm a bit worried about South, to be honest.
We spoke about a bounce-back factor when they got pumped by Melbourne. And it didn't happen.
Well, they did. They come back and won against the Raiders only because Matt Lodge laid down.
Yeah, but that wasn't convincing.
No, 100%.
And then they get spanked on the weekend. So, in my eyes, hopefully the Rabbitohs do it again. Then it might be a proper wake-up call. If not, Brownie might be on the chopping block.
He'd be seriously worried, I reckon.
100%, yeah. And, you know, when you see like Fox or whoever puts up the coach's rating as to how hot they are in the pressure zone, and they might even have him in the orange. I tell you what, that bloke is in the furnace.
Mate, I think he'll be up there too with Trent Barrett, the way things are going. I think I can't see South losing this, even though they are missing Cameron Murray. Arrows replacing him there at lock isn't going to be anywhere near as strong as what they could be. After last week, I just can't see him getting. I can see him scoring maybe 1 or 2, and they'll be letting South in for about 6.
Yeah, right. Tohu Harris comes back for the Warriors, which is a big plus for them. He's the captain as well. Won't spend too much time on this, Ches. Who are you taking, Birdo, first?
Yeah, I'll take
South?
the Rabbitohs, yeah.
I'll take the South, but with no confidence at all. Ches, you're Mouldy, and who you going?
Very confident with South. Mate, I got South giving 6.5 start. The attack of Zalesniak, DWZ, anytime try scorer, and my mate, Big Kaloa Matangi. That is $22.67.
You had AJ in there as well, I think, didn't you?
Did I?
Yeah, you had AJ.
I might have missed a leg there.
Yeah.
Sorry, I would have too. I would have had Alex Johnson in there.
I thought you said you were going conservative.
It is conservative. It is, for me, it's conservative, mate.
Run through it again. So you got South at the line minus 6.5, DWZ anytime try scorer, AJ anytime try scorer, and Kaloa Matangi.
Yeah, I missed out on AJ there.
That's correct.
So
and what's the price?
$22.67.
Good odds.
This
nice
way the
and
week,
conservative.
Kaloa Matangi will score for me.
You got across the other week for you when you had him. You missed out on Campbell Graham or someone else, I think, then. So.
Big stretch. He went close to that game too, because I remember watching that with the fingers crossed.
All right, boys. Second game on Super Saturday is the Titans up against the Dragons. Saturday 5:30. Coincidentally, this one's been played at Suncorp as well. $1.95 if you like the Titans. They are the outsiders. $1.85 for the Dragons. Nice and close there. The line is set at 1.5. And you can get the Titans at $1.85 for the plus, or the Dragons at $1.95 at the minus. The bookies are making this one a close game, boys. You think it will be?
Yeah, I think they're both playing fairly ordinary at the moment. Jermaine
Dragons
Asako
won 3 straight and then came up against Melbourne.
But
They were pretty good last week against Melbourne defensively.
for the first
40 or 50 minutes, which most teams are like that against Melbourne and Penrith.
They just grind you down. The only thing is, I watched every minute, every second of their West Tigers game where they won 12-6 only a couple of weeks ago, maybe a fortnight ago, and it was not convincing at all. So, But then again, too, when you speak about that bounce back factor, the Titans are due. It's a funny one. The only problem is I just don't see where it's coming from. But one thing, I'll save you saying it, is Jaden Campbell comes back in at number 1, which pushes Jermaine Asako to the wing. So for Jermaine Asako, probably a little bit disappointing because he wants to play 1, hence the reason why he's leaving Brisbane next year, regardless of this contract he was leaving and going to the Dolphins. So, tricky one. I'll go St George.
He's made a bit of movement there. So just looking here, Patrick Herbert is out, as well as Corey Thompson and Greg Marju. They've both been dropped to reserve. So the backline looks a little bit different, as you said. Campbell, Sami, Brian Kelly, Esan Masters and Jermaine Asako. AJ Brimson back at 6, which then is now pushed Will Smith into the reserves as well. So he's made a lot of changes. Something had to happen because they were pretty ordinary last week.
I'm going to have to go the Dragons. So off that last week's game, that was very, very soft. Dragons had that momentum going until they hit Melbourne. What do you do? The Dragons, you know you're not going to win, but they did put in a bit of an effort there.
I was quite impressed.
I'm going to slightly lead towards the Dragons here, just going off the last few weeks' form.
My Mouldy boys, I couldn't pick a winner, so I'm just going 3 legs here. Under 38 total points. I think it'll be a low-scoring affair. The rain forecast for Saturday is fairly high. Dropped off a bit on the Sunday. Ravalawa to score and Philip Sami also to get across the white stripe. $13.86 on that one. For those of you that are new to the show, our major sponsor, TopSport, gifts us with $150 each week to have a punt with. And all the money that we do raise is going to our 3 nominated charities, and we'll have $15 on each game. Each of us will choose a multi throughout, as you can probably catch on to that. Let's get into the main event, boys, and I love this game we spoke about a couple of weeks ago. Great headlining act for the Magic Round. Top of the table clash, Melbourne Storm up against the Penrith Panthers. Saturday, 7:45, so a little bit later. Bit disappointed, we'll get to it in a minute, but the Melbourne are the outsiders here at $2.20. Show me a market where Melbourne have been $2.20 in the last 2 years. Penrith $1.69 favourite, as Tristan said at the top of the show. The line is set at 2.5. You can get Melbourne at $1.85 at the plus, or the Panthers at $1.95 at the minus. Looking forward to this one, boys.
Yeah, I was saying to the boys at work, I'm super pumped for this game. 7:30 Saturday, is it?
7:45. But
7:45.
Yeah.
The only problem is I don't want to get my hopes up because it just seems like one of those games where there's that much hype. Conditions are going to be poor. There's going to be no Pappenhausen there. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it turns out to be a ripper because I tell you what, I'll be tuning in regardless. But not very often do you see Melbourne at that price. If Pappenhausen, for example, was there, would that be a lot closer?
Totally agree.
And how much closer? Are you talking like $1.80, $1.90?
Yeah, I reckon.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
That's number 1 and 2 on the table, and I tell you what, they're number 1 and 2 on the table for a reason. They're playing some damn good football, both sides.
Yeah, it's a real shame he's out. I think if they had had him, it would have been an absolute cracker, regardless of the weather. I think it was going to be an absolute barnstormer, as some people say. Unfortunately, got dealt the lethal teaspoon of arsenic last week and put him out for a few weeks. But
put a mocker. Sorry, Paps.
This is. I think it's going to be like last week with the Parramatta game. This is going to be edge of the seat stuff. It's going to be really good. I think there's still going to be some ball getting thrown around in this.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I reckon they still have the skill to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And this is going to be definitely probably a minimum of a 6-pack game. This one is going to knock down a few Cowboys watching this.
I'm looking forward. Keep going.
I'm going to go the roughies here. I'm going to take Melbourne this week.
Okay.
Even without Paps, I just got a good feeling about them. They've been playing solid, and I think they can ruffle Panthers
I think
feathers a little bit here.
I think both these sides are so good. If it was on a dry track, we'd be looking, forward to the attacking players and the outside backs, but they're forwards. If it's wet and sloppy, I'm looking forward to the forward battle. There's some great forwards within international forwards within both sides, so that'll take over the excitement for me. I think there, boys, as we mentioned, Pappenhausen out. He'll be out for 4 to 6 weeks. Remus Smith also, that's a big loss for him. He's been playing really well there in that centre position. He's out with a torn pec. He's looking at 2 to 3 months on the sideline. So Meaney is going back to the full-back position to cover for Paps, and Iramia comes into the wing. So, but looking at the Panthers, boys, Scott Sorensen returns after I think he was sick, maybe not with COVID, but something last week, and that pushes Matt Eisenhuth back to the reserves. But other than that, they're unchanged.
That just reminded me, my sin bin for the week should have been the Cheese's hairstyle.
Oh,
you seen it?
It's all a go, but
It's just
Dylan Brown did it last year.
I was going to say, too many people are watching the old Eminem Stan.
You call me
film
back.
clip.
My Mouldy boys. So again, too hard to pick. I've gone 3 anytime try scorers: Taylor May, Xavier Coates, and my boy is back in there.
Hughesy?
Jerome Hughes.
I like calling him Tail May now with that hair.
Oh, it's horrible.
Oh, it's rain.
That's another one.
Oh, some shockers. That one's paying $24.51, which I quite like that price.
I like that. Hopefully, Hughesy doesn't have the same teaspoon as Paps.
Yes.
You don't want to be
here
putting
we
the
go.
mocker on him.
Yeah. Can't wait for that game. Should be a classic. And there's a couple of good games after it, which we'll get to now. Sharks versus the Raiders. This probably isn't the one I was talking about. Sunday at 1:50. Bit of odd times this week, so make sure you check your guide as well, because the times are out a little bit, and as to no Thursday night football. So Sharks Raiders. Sharks are the favourite, $1.25. The Raiders $4. They're outsiders. The line is set at 11.5. Biggest line of the round. Both at $1.90. You get the Sharks at the minus or the Raiders at the plus. Boys.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was looking at the table last night and I've forgotten already. Correct me if I'm wrong. Are the Raiders in the bottom 3?
Correct.
I think it's Knights, Bulldogs, Raiders, working from the bottom up.
They have a side that can just be so much better. It's just frustrating. They're very hard to back. To back. Yeah. Anyway, I'll let you keep going. I just wanted to chime in with that. I'm just very surprised that they're that low. I didn't pick them to get the 8.
That's incorrect. Knights at the bottom, Bulldogs, Titans, Tigers, and Raiders.
Yeah, wow.
Right.
Raiders is actually on 6 points, so the others are only on 4. So I do apologise to the Raiders fans out there. So
They're playing like they should be in the bottom 3.
they're
I'm
in
sorry.
12th. They're in 12th.
Sorry, Hawkeye, Bim, etc. That the big Raiders fanatics. I tell you what, there's something about the green machine that I like too. I was riding the boys when they were in the final only a couple of years ago. That's probably what let them down. All my weight hanging off their back, but. I just think they should be better. As you said, Ches, they've got a very quality, good quality side, and you look through there, and there's some good fearless leaders. Rapiner plays his heart out every game. Adam Elliott's been playing some good football at the moment. Josh Papali'i. I don't know.
Looking at
they
their
just should be
side,
better. That's all I can say. They just should be better. I think.
Looking at the side, they should be on par with like Roosters and Souths.
Well, they're not too far.
So you're
off,
saying
to
like
be honest.
saying like a 6 or something like that.
Yeah, 10. That should be like their fucking lowest point. Would be coming 9th or 10th.
I was going to say, if someone calls me a 10, I think that's a pretty high point.
But yeah, I find the Raiders so hard to bet on.
Yeah, me too. They're still missing Jack Whiten. Jared Croker too came back last week, sustained that shoulder injury, but he's only out for a few weeks, I reckon, which is good. Seb Chris comes back in the side, and that puts Savage back on the bench. A few changes there for the Sharks boys, though, with Will Kennedy and Ramian both out. Hines moves to fullback, which means Braden Trindle comes in to play half. Connor Tracy shifts from the wing into the centres. And your boy's the suit man, Mulatalo, the Parmesan cheese. He comes back on the wing as well. So even though there's a bit of a shuffle around, I still like the shape of that squad.
Wonder if Will Kennedy's got the teeth out of his forearm yet from the big arm.
Boys, what are your thoughts on Wade Graham? Do you think he's...
I think he's a bit like Pappenhausen
Bit
was
shy?
last year, a bit gun shy. He got to be, mate, because he would know in the back of his mind, one more hit, he's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, and that's how it is. It's how it's going to be for him, I think, and he probably realises that. So it's going to take him a while to get that confidence back, to be able to take a hit and not be worried about, is this going to end my career? Or is this going to leave me with permanent brain damage? So,
100%.
Without being in that situation, we can't really judge too much, but I think that's the issue for him, to be honest. Let's get to the Malts and get on to the next game. This one's mine as well. I've gone Sharks head-to-head. I think the Sharks will win this one. Talakai and Mulatalo both to get across the line anytime. $4.69 for that one.
It's not bad.
Yeah, little 3 legs. Moving on to the next game, Sunday 4 p.m. This one is Roosters versus the Eels. This should be a great game as well. Roosters are the outsiders, $2.15. The Eels are the favourite at $1.70. That's head-to-head. The line is set at 2. And you can get the Roosters at the plus for $1.90 or the Eels at the minus also for $1.90. Should be a good game, boys. I'll let you two battle it out and I'll just sit back and watch.
I'm excited to see Connor Watson come back and start at 9. Don't mind Sammy Verrills. It's nothing too bad. I just prefer the Connor Watson.
That's Sam Verrills.
In at 9.
He cannot stay injury free.
Nah. Yeah.
He's played like 11 games in 3 years.
I was going to say, I think he's had more time off for each season than he's been on.
100%.
He's just
100%.
Yeah.
Poor fella, he's
can't
injured.
get a break. Literally can get a break, but he can't
his
catch
collarbone.
it. Yeah.
And that looks so innocuous. Didn't look like anything in that tackle. But yeah, I feel for him. You wonder how long he can go on.
See, we're missing Mr. Nguama as well. He hasn't been named, which is a relief for me, mate. What do you reckon this game? Teddy versus Gutho.
I reckon it's going to be a massive matchup. The other one I'd really, really love to see, and I can tell you what, these boys are going to go at each other. Wairega Hargraves versus Reg.
Mm-hmm. Should be good battle.
I reckon those boys will just run at each other all day. So, but yeah, Gutho versus Teddy, I think it'll be really good. Teddy's arguably one of the most in the attack. This year he's in a little bit of a slump, but I tell you what, give him a little bit of time. But I think Teddy's one of the most damaging attacking fullbacks, whereas Gutho is one of the best defensive fullbacks in the game. So two different player types, but I tell you what, boys, egos will be through the roof. The boys will be able to prove.
Tell you something, this coming from me last week. Gutho, he was everywhere, wasn't he? He was outstanding last week.
Just before we get to your multi, Berto, can you just read me the name of number 23 for the Eels, please?
So, Eli El Zakem.
Do you know him?
He plays for Wentworthville. Plays reserve grade.
What position?
In the backs. In the backs.
Okay.
No, plays in the backs.
All right, hit us with your multi, mate.
All right, so the multi, boys. I'm going to go Para head to head. Hayes Dunster anytime try scorer, boys. I'm going to go against it here.
Dunster's back, is he?
Dunster's back. And I'm going to go
Hayes Perham.
Hayes Perham. I'm on the moon here. So Para head to head, Hayes Perham anytime try scorer. Boys, I'm going to go the points over 40. I get a feeling this could be, say, something tight like a 24-20 or something like that. Boys, $4.87.
Well, the rain is meant to clear up on that Sunday as well up there, so hopefully it does, and hopefully there's plenty of points scored. So I thought, Dunster's made a miraculous recovery.
Because in my notes I've just wrote Hayes.
You
All
peanut.
the Roosters supporters too. We get to see Daniel Saluka Fafita come out again this week playing 17, so we're good to see him have another run, see what he can do there as well.
Interesting, he's not ever been seen in the same place as David Fafita, as you said the other week. It's just with the big eyebrows and the glasses. Same person.
same person with the bit of a wig on. Do a Junior Paulo. Remember Junior Paulo was playing some third grade. Was playing in headgear and stuff. So
all right, let's get to the last game, rounding out magic round, and that is the Tigers up against the Cowboys Sunday, 6:25 p.m. The Tigers are the outsiders, $3.35. Cowboys at $1.33. The line is set at 8.5. Both at $1.90. You get the Tigers at the plus, or the Cowboys at the minus there, boys. Cowboys have been really good. Reuben Cotter, if he does not feature somewhere in Origin, I will be stunned. He's playing out of his skin. He's playing some good footy. Thoughts?
I'm just having a look here. Big Luscious is back for the Tigers. Big Luscious Leilua, Luciano. And Cowboys, they had the same squad as last week, which I wouldn't be changing anyway. Just having a look here. So we've got Hammer starting at 14 again. Drinkwater at 1, which has pushed great Jake Granville, like we mentioned before, back out to the reserves. Chad Townsend, he's been playing half decent, I reckon.
Yep. Good buy.
Yeah.
I think that's what they needed. They've spoken about they needed that general. There's Todd Payton had an interview on NRL 360 maybe Monday night. And it was good. He said, we've got attack at the back, outside. We've got some big bops. We just needed someone to point them in the right direction. That's why they went for Chad Townsend. Probably paid a little bit over to get him up there, but it's paying off for him at the
100%.
moment, isn't it?
Yeah. Sometimes you just need to pay that extra couple of dollars to get a player. Now, I was fairly harsh on him, but I still don't take back what I said. He was very poor at Cronulla, particularly towards the last, the back end of his season and his career there. But mate, he's
change of clubs, freshening him up,
fresh water, mate. It's good. And I tell you what, it's good to see Stefano Utikamanu getting a bit of game time too. He'll be slowly getting himself back from injury, slowly getting himself back to that match fitness. It'll be only a matter of time. I reckon he'll be straight onto the starting squad.
Well, I reckon that's probably why he got himself sin bin last week. The match fitness gave himself an extra 10-minute breather. So.
An extra 10 minutes, not by choice. But I think this might not be too bad a game, but I think the Cowboys will just grind them down. I think they'll just come through the middle over the top of them.
One thing I'm worried about is this game being the last game for the Magic round. Is an ankle injury or someone twisted their knee?
Hey, here we go. Chess has got the old voodoo doll out.
I'm just saying.
Hopefully, depends on how the ground holds up. I think
100% don't want to see it happen, but this will be the game that'll be like your hammer or you just got to drink water or
what other voodoo dolls you got in your room?
Jackson Hastings, someone
like that. Someone's one of their key players will end up getting something happen to it. 100% hope it doesn't happen.
Any ex-Roosters players in there that you want to get injured?
I'll have a look.
Your malt, mate. Hit us before we wind the show up.
So this is going to be my lucky last if this doesn't work this week. But I'm going to go Kyle Felt first try scorer, and the Cowboys head-to-head $8.37. So 2 legs. Kyle Felt first try scorer. Cowboys head-to-head $8.37. So the last couple of weeks I've picked the first try scorer. This is my 4th week in a row. That try scorer has scored second on 2 or 3 occasions. I
actually found a little market on TopSport on the weekend. So you can pick the first try scorer for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be for the game. So if you think the Tigers might score first, but you think Felt will score first for the Cowboys, Tristan and the boys had that separate market up there, which is good too. They
got some good markets over there. Now, we mentioned last week, boys, the guru, the betting savant that we know and love. He sent in a multi. I can tell you what, he got 2 legs up. He missed the last leg by 3 points. He needed over 42.5 points in that Cronulla game, and there was 39 points scored. Given if Will Kennedy wasn't sent off and also Jesse Ramian, I think they scored 40 themselves. So.
Or if instead of taking that rubbish field goal, they put that through the hands to the right, they score.
Exactly. So we've given him another chance. We've said we're going to back him through the month of May. So he sent through another bet here, boys. As we mentioned, we can't show his face. But he's gone Newcastle. He's picked his own line there at +8.5 into Panthers head-to-head against a big matchup against the Storm there. And Val Holmes, anytime try scorer. So he's gone across 3 games there, $6.36, which is about $2 more than his value last week. So if you like that, he was very, very close last week. Betting savant, get on.
Yeah, he is the gambling gazelle, isn't he?
I love that.
Can pick him.
We've got to wrap it up, boys. We're running out of time.
Now, just quickly, everyone in the tipping comp, make sure your tips in. Now, last week we only had 2 people left for the knockout tips. Both those boys picked Panthers, so it defaults. So they're still in for this week. So
how dare they tip against Parramatta?
So if you're one of those 2 boys, make sure you put your knockout tip in for this week as well, because you're back in, and there's only you and someone else to fight it off with. So
I'm going to see. I'd have to see in the comp rules if that ends this weekend. We might kick off another knockout comp if we can, if the platform lets us, because it's so early in the competition. I got knocked out in round 1. So.
Well, I'd still be in there if it wasn't for Parramatta and the Tigers.
I don't know whether I'd still be in there, but that was because I didn't put my tips in. But I'm pretty sure I would have went out the week after anyway.
Anything else before we wrap up, boys?
I'm actually keen as this week all the games at Suncorp, big spectacle. If
we should go up next year.
I was just going to say that we might get in the bubble with Fletcher and Hindy.
Oh, how good, boys! As I mentioned,
I was going to say this weekend is going to be a cracker. Hope everyone gets involved. stock up your fridges, lock the doors, take the phone off the hook, and get involved. It's going to be awesome. This is going to be so
Who's got a phone that goes on the hook anymore?
Don't you boys have them anymore? The best thing about them, if someone rings you don't like, you can slam it down.
You've probably still got the old one piece hold on.
As I mentioned before, thank you to all our sponsors of the show, TopSport, Whitebull, and I am Cartoonified. As I mentioned, if you do like the show, please support these great businesses that support us. We would really appreciate it. We've got some great things planned for the rest of the year as well. Until next week, enjoy Magic Round. Hope you don't cast too much of a spell over yourself. Gamble responsibly, and don't eat your soup with a fork. See yous.